Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today, thought I'd run through with you guys how to set up an aircraft properly for arrival, specifically more Boeing side of things. So this is pretty good to know through PMDG 737, the 777, the Asobo 787 for the most part, and any other Boeing aircrafts, 747. The list could continue, but this is just roughly how to set them all up for arrival. So I thought I'd run through it with you guys. So I'm currently doing East Midlands to Manchester as a quick showcase for this. So first off, you obviously need to set your arrival in, which is probably the easiest part about this. So you can find it on Simbrief under your route bit. For me, I've got the Elvo 1 mic arrival into Manchester 23 right. I know that's... yeah, okay. Also, that's incorrect, I don't know why. Anyway, so if we go put that in here. So Elvo 1 mic, as you can see there. Now, most airports, if you find if they're international, they will have a nice, lovely ILS system for you, which is the best thing you can get because you'll get a glide slope, a localizer, and more. I don't think there's any more, but there you go. So what you want to do is find your ILS that you're going to be on. As I said, we are on ILS 23 right into Manchester. So if we just click this next page here, and we keep scrolling, there it is, ILS 23 right. Now I've got the Elvo 1 mic, ILS 23 right, and obviously sometimes it may come up with the transition, which you don't have to put it in. Sometimes it's best to, but yeah, there we go. Now sometimes your route might come looking like this, especially if it's a short haul like I've just done. That's okay. So if we zoom it out, you can see, look, that's re-put in Elbos and Titan, which is what we're going direct to. Not what you want. Next waypoint needs to be at Cushy 1. If we go direct to Cushy after Titan, that fixes that issue. So with that issue fixed, we'll climb to 10,000 now, and that is the cruise. And immediately descend again. After that top of descent, I will meet you back on the arrival, which will be in a quick second for you guys. Alright, here we are, just before top of descent. I thought I'd quickly run through this with you. As you see, the green circle indicating our top of descent has just gone by. And, well, as you see, the aircraft is descending. If you've climbed with VNAV, by simply just selecting it on either your climb or takeoff, etc., or however you did it, as long as you keep VNAV on at your top of descent, you don't have to touch nothing. All you do is change this value from your cruise altitude down to whatever you'd like. So I normally set roughly 10,000. I'll descend from that. But yeah, as you see, the aircraft has just started descending because it says VNAV path here. So it will descend with the waypoints. This is mainly for when there's no ATC, for example, VATSIM. If there is ATC, they'll probably vet you down anyway. So it doesn't matter as much. Sometimes you can use it anyway, because some ATCs just tell you to descend via the arrival, which is really simple. Now, obviously, as you can see, no waypoints after here. But as you can see, there they are. They're self-vectoring, unfortunately. So after this waypoint down, the ATC will probably vector you to the ILS. I'm going to slightly vector myself for the ILS, and then obviously I will show you how to go direct to one of these waypoints, as the localizer as well. First, I'm going to set my heading here. I'm going to set it roughly as self-vectoring. Set it roughly off, so it's like it's kind of on the same line-ish. Once we get there, it's probably going to be a bit closer. So we're going to set 20 degrees, see how it looks. Okay, I'm going to go a bit further. Oh, I'm going to go for about 15 now. Oh, sorry, I'm going the wrong way. Okay, there we go. Okay, 25. That's my fault. So there, we've just come off that waypoint. So now if we go turn that, I'm going to go ahead and 3-0 actually. Both the game starts a bit. So yeah, as you can see, we're no longer like, you know, direct to any of these, which is fine. Because what you can do, quite simply, is press this button here on the FMC, zoom in. So press this little button here, and then what you do is you press it there, Once you feel happy enough to go direct to it, you'd click execute. But for now, it's okay. You can all ignore them, but turn that off. There you go. That'll should stop that. Now, quickly doing the checklist for the arrival. I didn't do any of these. I'm just showing you roughly for the descent. My apologies. So recall. In the 777, it's over here. 737, it's just like a big bar here. But simply just click that. It'll say recall. Obviously nothing's there, so good. The rest of this is all good. Auto brake, I've just worked out I need 3 for Manchester. The landing data, VREF and minimums, I will show you how to get those in a second. Mainly it's by the charts. I'll leave a link to Chartfox down in the description below because that's what I will be using today. So essentially, now I'm going to have a little pass around Chartfox to find my landing data. So if I type in EGCC at the top, go to approach, and go down to 2-3 right. Okay, that's my approach here. You can see I'll have my categories loaded, and I am going to be currently 421 on the barrel. So if we come here, set 421. Yeah, 421. Right then. Now, as well, as I said, I'm doing a little bit of a long funnel, so ignore this for a little bit. We're going to go to the index page, and then, so basically you press that, it might be sent to a random page, but click this little index here. Obviously I'm going back on the same page again, but go to approach, and here we go. This is where you'll see everything. So the gross weight, look on SimBrief for a value under the name Echo Lima Whiskey. I'll leave a little image on the screen so you can see what it roughly looks like, and that will tell you roughly what you are landing with. So fuel wise, payload wise, all combined into one number. Obviously ours is 519,787. If we do that, so 519,000. Obviously because it wants it in tons, you have to do a decimal point. We'll round it up to 8. Rounded it up. There we go. So now the aircraft, look, as you see, has worked out what it wants to do. Smoothest, we're going to say flaps 30 and put it there. So now we've done that. The reference is done. And you can just click that one. It doesn't matter as much. Going on to the approach engine. Obviously altimeters / QNH, hectopascals, whatever you want to call it. Done. Now it's all about the landing. So it's the speed brake armed, gear down, flaps 30. Now in the 737 there's an extra step where you require to press a little, there's like a little panel here. You change the ILS frequency number to what it matches in either your FMC or on the charts. I'll leave a little example of the charts and roughly where to find it in the 737 as an image for you just now. Yep, that's the only thing you have to do in 737 to capture it nicely. Anyway, that's who here. We want to go direct to this, and I'm happy with how it's worked out, so I'm going to go execute. Make sure LNAV is back on, and it will now fly it. Obviously you want to select to go down. Make sure that's clicked inward. The VNAV will descend as it needs to, as you can see there. I'm going to set flaps 1. Obviously you can have your weather terrain on. That will load the weather around the airport. You can have your terrain you can have your terrain radar on. So as you get low to the ground, and especially in mountainous areas, the terrain is really good. Also when it's really dark as well, terrain is really good. You can also have your traffic alongside it, so you can still see traffic. So if you click that, there you go. I'm not connected to any networks just for this tutorial for you, but that will now load everything. So there you go, the terrain's just loaded. And obviously my traffic will show if I was connected to a network like that, for example. Right, the aircraft might work this out to be really horrible. If it does, and it looks something like that, it looks really weird. Click that, execute again, and there you go. It'll draw more of a straight path for you instead of, in that stupid whatever it's trying to do. I'm going to do speed intervention on this. If you want to do that with the VNAV armed, the 777, just click it in. On the 737, there's a little button here that just says speed intervention. And then there you go, job's a good one. So now you can change this to whatever you want. I'm going to change this down to 200 just for now. Aircraft will slow down to 200. There we go. Now you can bring out your flaps 5 safely. But now, we also need to worry about how do we capture the localizer? How do we capture the glide slope? You can see the indicators there, but we're not going to arm it in just this state. It's just going to stay there as a little white marker. And obviously you want the aircraft to fly down to what? 300 feet, 500 feet, whatever you prefer. What you want to do, come over here and you see a little lock button on the co-pilot side. Click that. That will arm the localizer. I recommend you arm the approach mode when you roughly get to about 2,000 to 3,000 feet. So yep, the localizer is working perfectly fine. It's a good job. You just check everything up top. Make sure that's all good. Okay. So now I'm going to bring on the approach mode. Some of you might despise me for turning on the approach mode now. It is a little early to do so. But just for testing purposes, there we go. Glide slope is captured. And now the purple indicator is coming on screen. The aircraft will disregard this number now, hopefully, and will just fly it down as long as your flight directors are on here. If your flight directors aren't on, none of these two will work anyway. But the aircraft should just ignore the 3,000 value, and it should just continue down. So you may now continue with the setup of the aircraft. I'm going to go 180 on the speed. And then I'm going to drop down for flaps 10. It's good.
2,500.
It's done. And now I'm going to bring the gear down as the runway is in sight there. So gear down. Gear down, and I'm going to go flaps 15. Oh, sorry, this is flaps 15. My apologies. Flaps 20 coming in. I'm going to lower this a little bit more. Obviously, ATC might tell you to, keep a certain speed on arrival, especially into Manchester, because it can get pretty busy. So they might tell you to fly really fast, so like 180 till 4 DME. Now, if they say that, that's your DME right there. You've set up your aircraft. Remember that says 4. You are good to drop that speed as low as you need it to be. Yeah, if it says DME here, you're good to go. If not, on the batting radar, you could just roughly look for when it says 4 nautical miles away from the airport, then you're good enough, really. It might be a bit inaccurate, of course. It might be one of the worst ways. I'm telling you to do that. There you go. It's a way. If you DME doesn't show that, but it definitely should do after I told you that. There you go, look. The aircraft has disregarded the 3000. VNAV has been turned off because it's flying now with the approach, which is what we wanted. So, now I'm going to lower the speed a bit more. I'm going to bring out 25 flap. There we go. Now to Army speed brake, simply pick it up. Oh, my apologies. Hard to do. There you go, done. It's done. So as long as it's in that little gap and it's folded down into that gap, almost, and there you go, you're done. Job's a good one. Now next one, we're going to lower that to 151. Flaps 30, and the checklist will complete the moment flaps 30 is armed here. We'll do it for you. There you go. Now you are good now to just continue to land. I'm going to take over at roughly 300 feet when it calls. But now, as you can see, you got the reference in 142. You don't have to necessarily fly 142 as you recommended. I always fly about 5 knots above it. I think that's the reference anyway. The best thing you can do is fly 5 knots above it, just for wind shear or anything you might get on short final. I believe that's the rule anyway. With the VREF plus 5, you always fly 5 knots above your reference. Might be wrong. Well, I always fly 5 knots above anyway. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But it's best to teach rather than tell you wrong. Yeah, as you can see, the aircraft is flying this lovely. Obviously, the winds are a bit harsh in Manchester. The UK wind is pretty strong right now. That's 1000 jet. As you can see, we are showing 2 whites, 2 reds on the Pappies. The best thing you can do, really, because the ILS can be weird on really short final, listen to your Pappies as much as you can. That gives the best calculation for where your camera is. Your camera. The ILS might just randomly go really high up, then you're gonna like be on a weird path. That's why I always say about 500 feet, 300 feet. That 300 feet is your absolute latest to take over, unless you're auto landing. If you're looking to fly manually in, it's 500 really. So I am going to disconnect now. So if you want to do that, you simply do that, do that, and you have manual control of the aircraft.
300.
You just do gentle corrections in.
Approaching decision height. 200.
You can disregard that warning that's just come up then. Continue. Sorry if standing isn't the best. I'm still getting used to triple.
60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
And that's a shown. And turn reverse. And we'll take the next speed off. High speed. There you go, 60 knots, let's engage. So on that. There you go. You have just successfully flew your aircraft down following a glide slope or localizer. It's a bit different for different type of approaches like an RNAV. That's mainly all Pappies and you following roughly what you need to be at where for the waypoints. But there you go. That is an ILS approach in a PMDG 777. Obviously, it's roughly the same in the 737. It's probably exactly the same in the 787, just the 78 has a different style of FMC. And the 74, I think, is the same as the triple. I might be wrong. So yeah, the 737 just has a slightly different way of doing it by a little box on your center pedestal. And as I said, it is roughly like here. So yeah, there we go. Welcome to Manchester, guys, and I hope that you have learnt to fly a ILS approach effectively. And I will see you in the next tutorial. Be sure to leave any comments of any more tutorials you want to see in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and all the necessary links are in the description. Goodbye for now.